All right, folks, happy Friday. In today's update, we are going to break down why I believe the XRP suppression is over, no more excuses, and the XRP bull run is coming next, or at least it better be, because I'm tired of having excuses like the lawsuit, the delays, the this, the that. It's over. And I'm going to show you why it's over in this video. On top of that, Bitcoin just broke out. Gold just smashed through all-time highs. And John Dean killed it again. I want to wrap up with a couple points that we saw from the debate last night, folks. I appreciate you for stopping by. I hope you're having a great Friday. What an incredible week. And I want to say real quick before we get into it, thank you for all your support. We smashed the live stream last night for round 2, and we smashed it again on Tuesday for that first debate between Elizabeth Warren and John Dean. It was just an absolute pleasure to be a part of that moment, to be, getting as many eyeballs as possible on John Dean, on XRP, on saving America, on fighting for a level playing field. That's what this is about. And so I just real quickly wanted to say thank you for all your support. If you guys are new here, by the way, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we're going to keep the updates coming that matter the most to you. Current events, financial markets, and how do we stack that paper? How do we keep that wealth? And how do we preserve that wealth for future generations? Let's change the world using this technology, fighting for sound money. This is how we achieve a level playing field and actually get something done. Now, let's talk about this. I know that many people think, oh, the XRP YouTubers are probably happy because they get to keep talking about the lawsuit for another 2 years. I'm over it. Straight up over it. I don't want to talk about this lawsuit anymore. And when you look at what the SEC did appeal on, right? It's no surprise what they appealed on, but they did not appeal. They didn't even really have a chance to appeal on the XRP in and of itself is not a security, right? What they appealed on was the other distributions, the sales programmatically to exchanges, and they didn't go after the disgorgement, they didn't go after a penalty, and they didn't go after any more injunction. So basically, they're just going back to say, hey, these sales programmatically were an investment contract, the other distributions, paying contractors in XRP, that's an investment contract. It's so weak. It's so weak. But it only pertains to Ripple. Right, XRP's in the clear. The XRP ledger ecosystem is in the clear. And I would even argue that Ripple's business using XRP's in the clear. The only thing that they, have, really the law of the land is that the programmatic sales are not a security. The law of the land is that the other distributions are not a security. Whether Ripple wants to continue doing those, that's up to them. They could run that risk. But when it comes to distributing XRP, it's very simple. Ripple's lawyers now know how not to, write out the contracts, right? The contracts that they made for institutional investors, those were investment contracts. And we'll see, maybe Ripple will be appealing on that. Stuart Alderati did say that they were going to respond next week with their Form C. So just like throughout this entire case, operating with class and transparency, we don't have to wonder where Ripple's Form C's at, if it's going to be filed on the last day. They're just very clear. Yeah, okay, it's coming next week. We'll have it for you. And, we're going to proceed with this case. But the point that I'm making, guys, look at XRP, look at the price chart. If XRP suppression was going to continue, if this lawsuit and this appeal, continuation of it, was going to impact XRP negatively, why did XRP not even go down by 1 penny yesterday? Look at this XRP price chart to see what I'm talking about. Right? We get the news that the appeal dropped yesterday, and we had run up with the rest of the space up to 56.5 cents yesterday. And then we came back down and we were trading with the entire crypto space, and we still are. There was no moment where XRP went down. We didn't even go down by really not even half a penny. We went down by half a penny with the rest of the market. That was not because of the lawsuit. We were not impacted at all by this appeal. Now think about that. We've seen, when the lawsuit first dropped in December of 2020, XRP dropped. We lost 15 billion of market cap right away. Talk about how big the damages are. Don't get me started, right? 15 billion lost overnight, and that was just the start. As the appeal goes on, the damages continue. But the point that I'm making here in this video, guys, I no longer have any more excuses. I don't think that we can have any more excuses for XRP at this point. XRP's in the clear. The XRP ledger ecosystem's in the clear. Anybody that wants to buy XRP from Ripple, it's very clear how to, write out that contract. You're in the clear. So there's no more reason why XRP should be suppressed. And I think that last night, with the appeal dropping and XRP not moving at all, is the proof of that. So is XRP going to miss this bull run? No. Are people less excited about XRP? Well, some people that don't understand what the appeal is about, some people that don't take the time to understand what's happening in the XRP Ledger ecosystem, people that don't take the time to understand what utilities and amendments are in our pipeline to add functionality and programmability to the XRP Ledger might think that XRP is dead. But for those of us that have been paying attention, we're in the clear now. And going forward, I hope that all my updates in regards to the case can just be very quick. You know, boom, boom, couple points. Here's where we're at. Here's what happens next. Let's get back to talking about the builders. Let's get back to the businesses. Let's talk about what Ripple's doing, because that was the main takeaway for me from Ripple Swell Conference. They brought in all these institutional banks, big players, right? And I think the message sent was, no matter whether they appeal or not, we're moving forward with our partners, with our banks and the biggest institutions in the world, whether the SEC wants to keep dragging their feet or not. Now, more on this later here, but I want to continue because we got a lot to cover here. Bitcoin has also broken out now, 68,400, back above this level that we traded at on Wednesday. So Bitcoin has broken out. And speaking of breaking out, gold has just smashed to all-time highs. Yesterday, we watched as gold futures went up to 2,712. Here we are at 2,734, gold having itself a massive, massive day. By the way, if you guys are looking to get precious metals, I have it linked up down below. When you go to the precious metals page, just click whether you want the metal shipped directly to your house or whether you want to roll over a 401k retirement account. I know a lot of folks want access through 401k products to precious metals. We got you covered. You want it shipped to your door so that you can hold sound money, no counterparty risk, utility with no counterparty risk in your hands. We can get it shipped to your door as well. So that's linked up down below. Now, the question is this time different? Well, there's a lot of similarities. This time is different. This time it's bigger. This time it's worse. That's what I've been saying. And you want to look at this one data point to show you what I'm talking about? Take a look. Cisco, during the dot-com bubble, was worth 5.5% of the US GDP. NVIDIA is now worth more than double that at 11.7% of GDP. This is why I talk about our markets and our economy being so fragile. When your markets and economy are propped up, and really the markets in particular are propped up by the Magnificent Seven or the top 10 stocks. When you look, the very few times has there been as little breadth in the market as now. What breadth means is that basically that there's only a few stocks that make up most of the market, right? There's no equal breadth. It's not spread out a bunch amongst the S&P 500. It might as well be the S&P 7 and then the S&P 493. Right? Because the Magnificent Seven, along with NVIDIA now making up over 11% of our GDP. That's a vulnerable spot to be in. Now, another vulnerability that we have here in this country is our national debt. And what you'll notice here, as John Deon points out, is that it wasn't mentioned once during the national debate for president, and it also wasn't mentioned during the two debates that John Deon had with Elizabeth Warren this week either. We're operating at a $2 trillion per year deficit, spending $3 billion per day on interest alone, and it's being completely ignored. I'm also disappointed not one question was asked about income inequality during my two debates with Senator Warren. Inflation and higher prices are destroying the middle class and crushing poor people in this country. I realize it's difficult to fit everything in only 2 hours, and that's why I challenged Senator Warren to 5 single-issue debates, including inflation and the wealth gap. You see now why she refused, because she got completely exposed in both debates. If the senior senator from Massachusetts doesn't have the moral or political courage to debate more than 2 hours when the country's on the verge of bankruptcy and the bottom 50% own less than 2% of the cumulative wealth, she doesn't have the courage to fight for the poor and the middle class in the Senate. And what I love about John Deon, as he brought up last night, Senator Warren wants to tax the rich and thinks that that's the solution, right? If you were to tax, and not tax, well, tax, confiscate, it's the same damn thing, isn't it? If you were to take all of the wealth from all of the billionaires in America, there's over 700 billionaires. You take all their wealth, it's only 4.5 trillion. That 4.5 trillion is only enough to cover our interest payments on our debt for 4 years. So it's not a solution, never was, never will be. And it's absolutely sick that they're teaching this to our kids and our children, that that's the answer going forward, is to destroy capitalism, even though we've never had real free capitalism, at least not since, well, you could go back to the gold standard being removed. That's one thing that removes sound money from our system. As soon as you start to allow the system to be corrupted, It really, trickles on down to that as well. But we look at this situation here. Nobody wants to address the debt. The folks like Elizabeth Warren say that we just go tax the rich. That's not a real solution. We need to cut. We need to rein this thing back in. And to John Dean's point, nobody wants to talk about that deficit. Nobody wants to talk about that debt and what we can do to address it. It's something that we need to face. And if they don't, which it looks like nobody will, even if Trump gets elected, is he really going to bring that in? How much will he be able to tighten that up? I don't know. I say that no matter who gets elected, that money printer's getting turned back on. Quantitative easing's coming back. We're still going to run deficits. We still have some serious problems. And what does that mean for our asset prices? Up and to the right. Sounds like a good time to me. Hey, but you got to understand what that's going to do for inflation and impacting you back home. This was one bombshell that John Dean dropped last night too that was absolutely just incredible. John Dean called out Elizabeth Warren saying that he has enough to bring criminal charges and prosecute Elizabeth Warren. And he literally called out the exact code. 18 USC 1622 is the law that addresses the crime of subornation of perjury. The definition: a person is guilty of subornation of perjury if they convince another person to commit perjury. As a former special assistant United States attorney, I prosecuted and won felony convictions against people with far less evidence than what's available against Elizabeth Warren. What she told Gary Gensler to say under oath is not the truth. Hence, using her power and influence. By the way, Gensler's daughter also worked for Elizabeth Warren. She convinced him to commit perjury. Corruption at its core.
Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Now, I'm not going to play this clip here, but this is John Dean calling her out directly. Now, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do in the first debate when he called her out for a few different things. And then once again last night when he said that he had enough to prosecute her criminally for the perjury here with Gary Gensler and mentioned that she fed him the questions and the answers, right? She was not prepared for this. And this is exactly why she doesn't want a third, fourth, or fifth debate with John Dean. She wants to wrap this thing up, and why she wanted to wait to do the debates until the mail-in voting had already started. She wanted folks to be casting their vote before they had to see her get exposed in these debates. Absolutely amazing. A huge shout out to John Deaton. And I have his link up down below too if you want to support John in his fight. We're going to continue to watch it. And I think that he's going to give her a real run for her money. It's a long shot for John Deaton to beat her, but I think that he at least has her in full panic. And it was great to see her get exposed. Now, this is the official appeal filing. And yesterday when this dropped, it was like 30 minutes before the debate started. And so when I was reading this off, I was reading the right section, right? I pulled up the Form C. I was reading through this and I immediately came to this Addendum B to Form C. And I was like, oh, this looks like the summary. But I was quickly reading over it and I was too excited to realize that it did include Ripple's offers and sales. I just picked up on Garlinghouse's and Larson's aiding and abetting and offers and sales and their personal offers and sales along with Ripple's distributions. But I missed the Ripple's offers and sales to XRP digital trading platforms. So basically, what we do know here is they're appealing on the few points that we thought that they were going to appeal on, right? But as Crypto Law US says here, this is John Deaton's law firm. Why was this filed a day late and backdated by the SEC? Was there internal disagreement on how this single paragraph, the only relevant part of Form C, would be worded? Basically, this is all that they had to put together. To file their appeal, this is all that had to be put together. Why did this take so long? Why did they wait to file it a day late? It's absolutely ridiculous. And as Ashley Prosper points out here, hopefully the appeals court will at least mention how ridiculous this is. What does de novo mean? It means the appellate court is ruling on a pure issue of law and doesn't have to defer to the trial court on the law issues. Question: does this also mean the court could decide this appeal without oral argument because the legal issues are straightforward and well settled? From what I understand, however likely, if the judges read the briefs and unanimously agree no argument is warranted, then that's it. The decision will be handed down shortly after. Now, let me check to see. I don't see any responses from the other attorneys, but that brings up a very interesting question from Ashley Prosper, right? If this is going to the appellate court and asking them a pure issue of law question, maybe they don't need to proceed with oral arguments and proceed to trial. Maybe they can, defer to the trial court on the law issues. Now, I don't want to get too excited, and I don't want to talk about settlement. I don't want to talk about, this could be over here, there, then, there. Right now, what we have is Stuart Alderati says that the briefings on this would take us out till, summer of 2025, July of 2025, most likely. So I'm going to look into this further. We're going to follow up on this to see, the timeline on when we could actually get a ruling. What I'm hopeful, though, is that at least the appellate court will at least, do something to the SEC in regards to filing a day late. Are they going to throw this thing out? No, but it should be mentioned and it should be noted. And why the hell haven't anybody in DC subpoenaed Gary Gensler yet? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is going to continue until they get stopped, until we vote these politicians out of office like Elizabeth Warren. But to the point and topic of today's video, despite all this legal battle, what's holding XRP back at this point? Let me know in the comments down below. Is there anything that will suppress XRP going forward? I think that there's no more excuses to be had. It's XRP's moment to perform. There's no more lack of clarity on XRP, on the XRP Ledger ecosystem, even on how Ripple can distribute XRP. The law of the land right now is that they're in the clear, as long as they don't do those institutional sales. And if they do want to do the institutional sales, just go register them or do one of the many exemptions to the, 506B, 506C. There's different ways to get around the securities laws exemptions. But the point being, right, they're in the clear, right? They are absolutely in the clear going forward. Ripple's business, the XRP Ledger ecosystem, and the XRP digital asset itself. So I think that the XRP suppression is over. The fact and the point that XRP didn't go down by even half a penny yesterday after the appeal news dropped tells me that XRP will not be suppressed. It is going to participate in this bull run. Does, the community have different price targets? Absolutely. But I think the all-time high is coming. I think that $5 to $10 is definitely in the cards. And my thesis remains intact. The thesis that I've developed that led me to my XRP exit strategy, which if you guys want access to that, that's linked up down below as well. You can buy access to the XRP exit strategy and see where, why, and when I will be selling my XRP this bull run, which I do believe that we will be participating in. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Is there anything else that's going to suppress XRP? I think we're in the clear. No more excuses for XRP. It's time to perform. Let me know in the comments down below if you appreciate our content. Make sure we smack it on the way out for me. Everything else is at ZachRector.com. And I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.